Good afternoon and welcome to Tortilla Talk. I'm your host Dylan, and today with me we got Dallas and Nick. Dallas, how you doing today?
Good. It's one of the best times of year. I'm excited for March Madness.
Yeah, and Nick, how are you doing?
I'm good. A little frustrated. I had a bet on Al Horford, and the Celtics are winning by so much they sit him out for the whole entire fourth quarter and half of the third. So, gonna miss that by about 3 points. So,
Well,
whatever.
win some, you lose some. But hey, on
Well,
the topic of
when you win by so much that they bench the starters, it's whatever. It's fine.
Well, you got a lot of opportunities coming up here to make it up.
That's true. That's right.
Yep, and there you go, Dallas. It's a good segue right into it. It's a special edition episode for the March Madness, guys. The bracket got released today, and I want to start before we dig deep into it with our Red Raiders getting a 6 seed in the South, matched up with the 11 seed NC State, who made a run in their tournament. I'll go ahead and throw it to you, Dallas. How do you feel about this initial matchup?
I like it. If you're going to be a 6 seed, this is one of the more favorable matchups I think we could have gotten. An NC State team that before this week was nowhere near the bubble. They were not going to be in the tournament. They get hot. Now, hopefully, after playing 5 games in 5 days, their legs are a little tired. But like we said on Twitter earlier, this team has struggled with like elite length, rebounding, and defense. That's not NC State. They're bottom half of the country in rebounding and not a top 100 defense. So I think just do what you've been doing. Warren Washington was spotted without a boot. Darian Williams was, but I think he'll be good. If we've got a complete roster, I think we'll be able to handle him. They've got a big guy down low who's like 6'9", 275. But I don't think he'll be able to compete with Warren's length down low.
Yeah, I mean it does seem like a good matchup on paper for us. Nick, how you feeling? Texas Tech opens up as a 5.5-point favorite. You feeling good about this one?
Yeah, I feel good about it. Dallas's point, right? You got to feel good whenever you're playing a team that wasn't going to be there until they got hot. Now, obviously, you don't want to play a hot team, but I think we'll be okay. I think by the time the tournament starts this coming week, they'll have cooled off and things will be back to normal. When you hear NC State, it kind of brings me back to football season when we lost a year ago. So I don't like hearing NC State, but I think that's just my dumb sports brain thinking about, oh no, NC State, they took it to us a year or so ago. So if it wasn't for that, I think I'd be 100% cool with this. So we should take care of business.
Yeah, no, good point. We all like to do that sometimes with the dumb brain putting different sports together. But Dallas, I'll go big picture with you. How do you feel about the 6 seed, and how do you like the road that the Red Raiders have in front of them?
Well, I'll pull up the bracket, the South bracket here.
See you, Dylan.
Adios.
I'm gone.
So, I mean, it sets up nice. Like we've been saying, if we can get in that South region, make it to the Sweet 16, and you're going to have basically a home court advantage. Kentucky would probably be the second round matchup unless Oakland can pull off a miracle there. But Kentucky's another one of those teams kind of similar to Kent's or NC State that, not exactly elite on the defensive side. Now they have a really good offense, but I think with the way we've been playing defense the last month or so, I feel comfortable about that. And then, put off playing Houston as long as possible. So I'm all right with that. Marquette matchup's interesting. I'm not a huge believer in the Big East this year. They only got 3 teams in, so bring it on.
Yeah, I mean, you make some good points there. I mean, there's potential for this to be an okay match. I mean, the matchups are fine, but the problem is you have teams that if they play up to their full potential, this could be a very dangerous road. Nick, how do you feel about the road in front of the Red Raiders?
I think to your point, Dylan, we've got some opponents that if they play up to their potential, I mean, it's Kentucky, right? They've got Kentucky talent. So they play up to what they're capable of. They're gonna run us out of the gym. That's not gonna happen, but just throwing that out there. I love the idea of us playing in Dallas. You just gotta win a couple games, get to Dallas, and then we'll see what happens from there. I'm not scared of Houston. There's no way they beat us 3 times, right?
That's the hardest
So
thing to do in sports is beat a team 3 times.
yeah, so there's no way if we get to that game, we're losing to Houston. So I think Kentucky is who makes me the most nervous
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
now. If they play to their potential, I mean they're Kentucky, right? So that just makes me nervous. But other than them, I think we can make some noise. I agree with Dallas. I do think UConn is phenomenal, but other than UConn, the Big East isn't as. They were all decent teams, but again, it says something when only 3 of them made it, right? We'll see.
Yeah, I agree. And since we're already talking about Texas Tech, I'll keep it in the South region, kind of do a little quick overview. We already talked about Tech and the other teams in there. So Dallas, I'll kick it to you for well, who would you say is a potential dark horse in this tournament? And dark horse can be anything. It could be a double-digit seed hitting the Sweet 16 or a seed above a 4 making a Final Four.
So A&M, I hate to say it, is kind of sneaky in that 9 spot just because of how good of a rebounding team they are. I think against Houston, that could be something where, Houston is great at forcing tough shots, but A&M is one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the country. They could potentially get an upset there if they can get those offensive rebounds when they get tough shots up.
Dallas. When you say A&M is sneaky, I thought you were referring to sneaky being they're selling nuclear weapon secrets to Qatar.
I mean, that's implied. That's kind of why I might use the term sneaky. We all know how sneaky those Aggies can be.
There's no sneaking about it anymore.
Yeah.
They're out in the open. They're doing it out in the open.
Yeah. So that I'm not a believer really in Wisconsin. I think Duke would get chewed up if they face that Houston defense. Yeah, I think the dark horse, I guess, would be A&M if they can get past Nebraska and Houston.
All right. Nick, who do you have as your dark horse in this region?
I mean, by your definition, Texas Tech. We're above a 4 seed.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, he said above a 4 seed, so technically, Texas Tech.
Okay, yeah.
Watch out for us. I think if we're healthy and we string together a couple wins, I think we can keep going. I think if we make it to the Sweet 16, then you just got to watch out for us. So yeah, Texas Tech University.
There you go. Dallas, I like what you said about A&M. I think they can give Houston some trouble. I'll tell you, I'm circling James Madison. I think James Madison will be in the Sweet 16. We'll see if they go further than that, but I think that's a 12 seed to really keep your eyes on. And then I also maybe I'm picking with my heart, maybe not my head so much, but I do have Texas Tech coming out of the region with my heart right now. We'll see if, my head takes it over, but I'll throw it to you, Dallas. Who's coming out of this region?
Texas Tech.
Okay. Nick?
Come on.
Well said, guys.
I'm going to be going to that game in Dallas. Me and we were already talking about this earlier. I'm getting tickets the second we beat Kentucky in the second round.
Are you saying Dallas in Dallas? Oh, yeah.
Can't lose.
There we go. All right. Well, hey, there's your South region for you. Texas Tech coming out of it. Who would have thought? I mean, I didn't see any of us picking that, but look at that. We all like upsets.
Who would have thought this podcast would have picked Texas Tech?
I'm sure the Tech and Tortillas listeners will be shocked that we picked Texas Tech.
Yeah, we should have done that at the end. A big unveiling. All right, well, we'll go ahead and throw it to the East region with the number 1 overall seed UConn. I'll go ahead and I'll throw it to you, Dallas. What's your what do you think of this region? What do you think of like the seeding? It seems to me a little tough for UConn, seeing as they're the number 1 overall seed. I found that kind of interesting.
Yeah, I thought, there was a lot of talk about Iowa State maybe getting that last 4 seed spot over UNC coming into the day. And then for UConn to get Iowa State in their bracket, I thought was surprising. This is not, I think this might be the toughest bracket. I don't think the South is very easy, but you got teams like BYU who we know if they get hot, they can really go on a run and beat some quality teams. Illinois has, Terrence Shannon. When you've got an elite All-American caliber player, you can make some noise in these kind of tournaments. San Diego State, almost, they went all the way to the championship game last year. Florida Atlantic made it a run last year. There's a lot of teams in this bracket that can make some noise. We'll see. Yeah, if I'm a UConn fan, I'm not too happy with who got put in my bracket.
Yeah, and I like what you said there about some of the teams, because it's crazy to see you have 3 of the Final Four teams from last year in the same side of the bracket. And that's with FAU returning a lot of people. Sure, they didn't play as well as they did last year, but they still have that experience from the last run they made. Nick, I'll toss it over to you. I know you kind of mentioned earlier UConn's a wagon, but it's a tough road for them. Do you like the road in front of them, or do you think they might fall to it?
Yeah, so I like UConn here. I don't necessarily agree with you guys on the fact that this is a tough road for them. Other than Iowa State, I just don't foresee them having too much trouble here. They are a wagon. And college basketball changes every year now. It seems like, I can't speak to all of those teams. I'm not an expert on San Diego State and how many returning players they have from last year, but you got to imagine it's probably a little bit different of a team. And UConn handled them pretty well last year. So I just think, other than Iowa State, who obviously we know them and we've seen them play, I don't think UConn's going to have an issue here. I don't see any of those teams making a difference. I think it's going to be UConn all the way. And other than Texas Tech, I don't see anyone stopping UConn.
Yeah, they do kind of look a little unstoppable this year. I'll give you that.
I watched a lot of the Big East tournament, and oh my gosh, dude, they just, even when they were like losing by a few points, you just saw like just the composure and just the athletes they have. Watching them play basketball, and then I hate to say it, but like watching us play basketball, there's times where it doesn't look like the same sport.
I'll say this though about UConn. So for being the number 1 overall seed, you play in a conference that got 3 teams in. And then you have, I'm looking at KenPom, you've got the number 285 non-conference schedule. So are they as good as they seem because of the teams they've played, or are they that good? I think there's some questions about who they've played and how they'll perform against some of these other teams. If they run into Iowa State, they haven't seen a defense like that. So I'd be curious to see how they'll fare against better competition.
Yeah, and that's the fun part of the tournament. You'll get to see that down the road. Nick, looking at this side of the bracket, is there any matchup you're looking forward to, or anyone you think can make a deep run? Any Cinderella story?
I love the idea of UConn playing Iowa State. I think that would be a great game to see who makes it to the Final Four. I agree with Dallas in that aspect. When you come from the Big 12, you every night's a rock fight, right? And then UConn, did have an easier conference this year, and let's not forget that there were a couple teams that won their conferences this year, and that probably impacted the Big East a little bit. Probably took away a team or two that would have made it. So same with Big 12, right? Oklahoma, but that number is a little misleading. I think the Big East is a pretty decent conference, but I would love to see Iowa State play UConn. And as far as anyone I think that could make a run, let's see what Florida Atlantic can do again. They do have. Why not? Someone's got to do it, right? And Dylan, if you're telling me that they're bringing back a lot of the same players, then they do have that March mentality.
Yeah, and that's fair enough. Well, we've seen a lot of these teams that have been tested in the tournament be able to bounce back and put that experience together.
Unfortunately for them, if they win one game, then they got to go play UConn.
Yeah, that's true. Dallas, do you have any dark horses? Anyone you see making a run out of this area?
So I've just got a weird feeling Yale is making it to the Sweet 16. I don't know what it is, but I just am not a believer in Auburn. I think that they only have like 2 quad 1 wins all year. They've got in because of their metrics and haven't had a ton of marquee wins. Yale's going to surprise them, and then they're going to get a chance at San Diego State or UAB, which won't have elite rosters like some of the other teams in the tournament. I think they might have a chance to make to the Sweet 16. Looking around the rest of the bracket, I think it's probably chalk on the bottom side. I think Iowa State will end up playing Illinois in that Elite Eight game or the Sweet 16 game. But yeah, I mean, if Connecticut ends up playing Yale, I think they'll handle them. But, yeah, I think Yale is my sleeper in this bracket.
Yeah, and they're only here because of a buzzer beater, so very interesting to see. You barely get in, and you can try to make a run. I think the only thing so there's a lot of talent here. I think the top seeds will probably advance, like as you guys are saying. The only thing that I think I find interesting is I'm thinking of having BYU play Iowa State. You get that Big 12 matchup again, and I would like Iowa State in that matchup, but I agree with Nick. I think UConn's just on another level, and I think that they're the team that I'm going to take in this region.
You think BYU? You think BYU can do that? You think BYU has it in them?
I think they have it in them to beat Illinois. Yes, but we'll see. Maybe Shannon gets hot, and he's been hitting threes. We didn't see that too often from him, but he's been doing that for Illinois. So we'll see what he can do.
Illinois, I'll say this, it does not have a great defense, and if that BYU team can hit those back cuts and get open threes, they could blow them out. I mean, they're capable of doing it.
Yeah. But yeah, all right, we'll go ahead and move on to the Midwest region. So Midwest, you got Purdue as the number 1 seed. Dallas, I'll throw it over to you. What do you think of this region? What do you think of the seeding? Anything stand out to you?
I mean, Purdue's not making it past the first weekend, right? Like this just says TCU upset all over it, and it's going to be hilarious.
Oh my God, I chose that too.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's like I feel like that's such a great matchup for TCU if they're going to play any of the ones. We'll see. But an interesting thing that Salt Lake City regional with Gonzaga and Kansas is if Kansas doesn't have McCullough and Dickinson, I might pick McNeese to come out of there.
I think Dickinson's out, right? I thought they announced that today.
Okay, if he's out, then I might pick Sanford because they're horrible without it, either one of those. So I think that's something to note, which would put TCU maybe in a spot to make an Elite Eight run, which is wild but they've never done that before. Looking down, I think Tennessee's going to have a pretty easy time coming out of that bottom half of the bracket, and I would have Tennessee winning this side.
All right.
Dylan, tag me in. Tag me in.
Yeah. I mean, we all saw that coming, Nick. All right, go ahead, Nick. Give me your thoughts on this region.
Tennessee is garbage, Dallas. They are always garbage. Oh my God. I can't believe you. Dallas, they ain't making it past the first weekend.
You think Texas is going to beat them?
No, I think Virginia will.
Virginia.
I think St. Peter's will.
Wow.
Now, Dallas, I am not a believer in Tennessee, though. And here's why. I last year, this is just honest street. I bet on them like four times, Dallas, 4 different times, and each time they lost. So I'm not a fan. The game that they just got blown out, who they lose to, A&M, or who was it in the tournament?
A&M, yeah, I think so.
They got crushed. Anywho, I was talking to one of my buddies asked me, hey, should I take Tennessee? And I said, dude, Tennessee's a bunch of losers. I said, they lost me 4 bets last year. And he took them, and guess what? He lost a lot of money on them. So I think this is
State. Another.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Team.
Yeah, I think this is the probably the most fun region. Do you guys agree with that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think for sure the most fun. I feel so bad. I think everyone wants Purdue to come on, because Zach Edey, right? He's fun. You don't know if he's gonna go ahead. Yeah, he's fun, man. You don't know if he's gonna make it to the NBA or last in the NBA. But he's a hell of a college basketball player. It's just Purdue's kind of fun, but yeah, they're probably gonna lose in the first weekend. But that's okay. So I could see that happening. I agree with Samford and McNeese. Gonzaga and Kansas are ripe for the picking. If I think Virginia will beat Colorado State, if they can just play their pace of basketball, I think UT's could have some trouble. And I think Dallas is going to beat Dallas. I think Tennessee will beat St. Peter's, but I do see Tennessee possibly losing in that second game or the Sweet 16. I don't see Tennessee making it to the Elite Eight. They're just not elite.
See, all right. I think the thing with Tennessee, which has been like a lot of recent teams, is they have the capability to be elite and then also just lay an egg like they did in the SEC tournament. So
yeah,
it is hard to string together enough games in March Madness to make it far if you do that every once in a while. But I think their side of the bracket sets up to where they'll be fine.
Again, I'm going a lot based off of last year, but recency bias had them getting their Tookuses kicked by Ole Miss, so I was right. Mississippi State, sorry. I just believe every team
just
can
keep
beat
naming
them.
different teams.
Yeah, just keep going through SEC teams.
I just saw them lose to Vanderbilt, and
Yeah. All right, so Dallas, you already told us we both know Tennessee is who you're taking. Nick, who you're taking in this region?
Let's go with.
You want me to pull it back up?
No, let's go with McNeese.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
McNeese or Samford?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, if you say so.
If this is
what?
If this is the fun region, let's have fun.
So I'm glad both of you said the fun region because I'll be honest, I'm gonna have TCU beating Purdue. I'm gonna have McNeese beating Gonzaga. I'm gonna have Samford beating Kansas. I'm gonna have Oregon beating South Carolina. And then I'll stick with the favorites on the rest of them. But out of this region, I think I'm going to go with Creighton, who neither of you seem to even talk about. We've been afraid of them all season. We were afraid of matching up against them in the tournament. I think that this bodes well for them, and it's either them or Tennessee, and I think Creighton will take advantage with the length that they have in the shooting. So I think this goes well for Creighton.
Whoever comes out of Creighton, Tennessee wins that bracket.
Or McNeese State with Will Wade coaching over there. Hey, let's have some fun. See if he can break any rules there.
That guy can coach.
All right. So we'll go ahead and move on to the West region. So the West, you have UNC as the number 1 seed. Dallas, give me your thoughts on this region, the seeding, anything stand out to you?
Looking through it now, it's kind of like I feel like a really chalky region, in my opinion. I don't see a ton of upsets on this side of the bracket. I think it's probably the top 4 seeds all make it to Sweet 16 here.
Oh man,
Nevada's been kind of spicy. Maybe they can pull off an upset against Arizona, but I think Baylor makes it out of that region relatively easily. I'm not a believer in Clemson. Looking down, Alabama can get hot, but I don't know. I think this is pretty chalk, if I'm going to be honest, and I think UNC probably takes it.
Dang, all right. Nick, I'll throw it over to you. What are your thoughts on this region?
before we hit my thoughts, Dylan, let's give a shout out to our sponsor, Colgate. Colgate toothpaste. If your mouth is feeling chalky, no better way to clean it up than Colgate toothpaste. Colgate.
You pick Colgate to
And with that, I'd love to see Colgate make a run here. I think Baylor is probably. I think Baylor's the team to beat here. They're just tough, man. Baylor's a tough team, and again, this is the college basketball, right? If a team plays up to their potential and does it consistently, then they're going to be tough to beat. And I think Baylor has that ability. I love St. Mary's versus Grand Canyon. That's going to be a fun game. Those are two of my teams that I just love those mid-major basketball games. Grand Canyon, they're the Antelopes. Fun team, fun colors. I would like to see them win. I'd take them to beat St. Mary's. I love that St. Mary's won their division this year. Take that, Gonzaga. What else we got? Other than that, though, Arizona is going to go pretty far, I think, as well. Did you guys hear that story about Long Beach State? Their coach and the school were separating. They agreed to separate, and then they won their conference tournament.
Yeah, I'm hoping they somehow upset them and make it far now.
If we know the executives over at ESPN, we know they'll find a way to fix it to where they can make a Sweet 16, and then they'll make a documentary about it and everything else.
I agree completely with what Dallas is saying. If I'm you, I sprinkle money on that upset just because of everything Dallas said. Arizona will probably get some kickbacks that we don't know about. So they'll take the money and run.
Well, their athletic department's in the hole like $200 million, right?
Well, that's what I mean. So they need some money.
Yeah.
Get a phone call from me. Get a phone call from Daddy ESPN. Get a phone call from what's his name? Daniel Day-Lewis.
Mickey Mouse?
Yeah, exactly.
There we go.
But yeah, I think Baylor, Dylan, is going to come out of here.
Okay.
You just picked Colgate, I thought.
No, that was our sponsor.
No, that's the commercial. That's the sponsor, Dallas. I don't think Colgate's going to.
Colgate beats Baylor, I'm going to have some amazing memes on Twitter.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. But I think my favorite game is Grand Canyon versus St. Mary's. I love mid-major basketball. I love betting on mid-major basketball. So that's a perfect matchup. I love it.
All right. Sounds good. So Dallas, you got UNC. Nick, you have Baylor. I look at this and I kind of agree, I think, with Dallas as far as it seems pretty chalky, except Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon is the team I think I'm looking at to make a bit of a run to get over St. Mary's and to get over Alabama. But outside of that, I think you get the 1, the 3, and the 4, or the 1, the 3, and the 2. And I say the 2 last because Arizona, the 2 is who I have coming out of this region. And Long Beach State will beat him because of ESPN execs, and then I'll get screwed in my bracket. But oh well, that's how it goes, right? That's why it's madness. But that's all the regions. I want to take a little bit of time going over the bubble and who got in and who got out. So Dallas, in your opinion, did anyone get snubbed?
I kind of feels like OU got snubbed, I'll be honest. I don't like OU. They're leaving the conference, but I kind of wanted the Big 12 to have 9 and have the most teams in. Yeah, they were the last team out, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was Oklahoma. Then who had the last four? Is Oklahoma? I know first. Seton Hall, Indiana State, and then Pitt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me pull it up.
and then the last four in was Boise State, Colorado, Virginia, Colorado State. So yeah, Oklahoma does feel like a bit of a miss there.
Yeah,
Nick,
especially putting a Colorado State over them.
I know.
That
I know. Nick, is there anyone you would have liked to have seen got in that didn't?
You
Is his
already
name
know.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
You already know. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It's sad. It's sad that ESPN and Disney and powers that be are scared of what might happen if a school like Indiana State goes too far.
Nick, he was just too pasty. It was too pasty for
No,
television.
it's sad. And I just, you know what? Let the kids play. I can't wait to see them win it all in the NIT. I hope that happens for them. It is what it is. I guess they don't want to put eyeballs on the television, but we'll be seeing him soon at Texas Tech, and he'll finish out his career there. But I do think, all joking aside, they got the short end of the stick, right? Their strength is not strength of schedule, but
Their net rating I know was
their net
29th.
rating was 29, right? So, I mean, that's kind of, I think that was the highest it's ever been. Yeah, and then their net rating was 29th. That's the highest any team's ever gotten that hasn't made it. I get that it's not a strong conference, and you know what? Win your conference, right? Then you don't have to worry about these things. But it's Larry Bird school, man. Come on. So, a little bummed out not seeing them get in, and then a little bummed out that they didn't have more of a fuss about St. John's.
Agreed.
Would love to see Coach back in it.
I know. You need to put Patino in it.
I guess that's what that's coming down to is I guess ESPN cares about the best teams. They don't care about having fun. So
Patino has fun.
Patino has fun. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's fun. Both of them not having fun in the tournament.
Yeah.
Walk me through that.
Yeah, I thought the St. John's not even being in the next four or the first four out was pretty surprising.
Well, Dallas, I know you're a Big East hater. I mean, that's kind of what you expect, though, right?
Well, look, they just act like they're on par with the Big 12, and they're not.
Hey, look, Dallas, all I'm saying is, I don't know why you're saying you're surprised St. John's wasn't in the last four out, I mean.
Hey, I'm glad Nick brought up the Big East hate because I want to run through real quick the amount of teams that made it from each conference. So you got the Big 12 and SEC with 8, Big 10 Mountain West with 6, ACC 5, Pac-12 4, Big East 3, and then the American, Atlantic, and West Coast all had 2. So Dallas, I mean, I know you've been talking about it all pod, but I guess maybe the Big East isn't as strong. Maybe Nick and I are way too high on UConn. Is that how you feel?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it is. I do think St. John's should have gotten in over like a Colorado State. 5 teams is plenty for the Mountain West. We don't need to see 6 teams from that conference. I know everybody, all the national talking heads like to point out that, it's such entertaining basketball. But, I mean, while that might be true, 5 is plenty from a conference like that.
I didn't even know there were 6 schools in that conference.
Yeah, it's, it is what it is, but I still do think UConn's in a class of their own, and also for selfish reasons, I wanted to see Oklahoma get in and get Big 12 to be the top conference, not tied for the top. But guys, I'm going to go ahead and ask you for it. I'm going to ask it a specific way because I want to get multiple answers out of you, and you'll see what I mean.
I know what you're going to ask.
Yeah, you already know what I'm going to ask. Give me your guys' Final Four. I'll start with you, Dallas, and give me your champion. And if it's Tech, give me who it is if it's not Tech. Or if Tech wasn't going to win it.
I don't answer those questions.
Let's see. Out of the South region, Texas Tech, obviously. The Midwest region, I have Tennessee. The West regional, I have North Carolina. And the East Regional, I have Iowa State. And I have Texas Tech beating North Carolina to win the national championship.
All right. And if you couldn't pick Tech, who would it be?
If I couldn't pick Tech, I mean, I guess I can't pick Tennessee either, right?
You can. That's fine. We'll let Scott be happy if that's what you want to do.
I think Tennessee's. I think they're good.
Oh
I
my
think
God, Dylan! Dylan, mute him.
I mean, I don't think North Carolina's going to win the national championship, and I didn't want to go Big 12, Big 12.
Jesus. If we take Tennessee out,
I'll say Iowa State.
Yeah, okay. If we were to take Tennessee out, would he try to say like the Dallas Cowboys or something? Would he find a way to talk about his other favorite teams?
You know what? At some point, Dylan, you got to get a muter on this thing, and you got to Tony Reale him. Unbelievable.
Would the Spurs be a 1 seed in this bracket?
Yeah, well, the Spurs are playing like a college basketball team this year. Nick, I'll go ahead and throw it to you. Who's your Final Four? Who's your champion? And if you weren't allowed to choose Tech, who would be your champion?
I know the drill. Can I ask you something? Can I ask you something?
What?
So obviously, in my bracket, I have Tech winning it all, right?
Yeah.
In this other bracket where Tech isn't allowed to win it all, can I have a different Final Four?
Sure. Why not?
Okay. So in my bracket with Texas Tech winning it all, I have Texas Tech. Who's in that bottom bracket?
Creighton.
Dallas, pull it up for me. I do like Creighton. But can you pull it up?
That's the Midwest, right?
Yeah.
You said McNeese, right?
Yeah. No, I like Creighton. I like Creighton. Oregon's a little frisky too, but let's go Creighton.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then next bracket.
You want me to pull up the West?
Yeah, just pull it up. I don't have it in front of me. Let's go with. See, this is a fun bracket too. Let's go Baylor. Let's go Baylor.
This one's chalk, but I do feel like the top 3-4 seeds could all beat each other pretty easily.
That's what like this is a good one. Yeah, like Baylor and Arizona, that's going to be a great game.
Yeah.
Okay, but I got Baylor.
Then the East.
UConn.
UConn, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So and then go back to Tech real quick. And then if I can't pick Texas Tech, this makes me sick. But let's go Houston.
Yeah.
Ooh. All right. Nice.
And then so Tech's gonna win. Tech's gonna beat UConn. They do call us the UConn Stoppers. It's a little known nickname, but people have been saying that about us. But if I'm going with my other Final Four, it's UConn. UConn beats Houston.
All right. Well, right now,
and Tennessee doesn't make it past the Sweet 16.
Well,
you want to put something on it, Dallas?
Past the Sweet? You were saying they weren't going to make it out of the first weekend.
I don't think they will, but if you want to make this interesting, past the Sweet 16.
I'll put money that they'll make it to the Sweet 16.
I wasn't talking about money.
That they'll beat Creighton, but I think they will. But
you just picked them to win the whole thing.
Yes, I know. Well, if Tech doesn't.
Hey, look, I'm Dallas. I picked Texas Tech and Tennessee, and then just another Big 12 team.
Best conference in America.
Yeah. Oh no.
All right. Well, I got UConn, and I have who is it? UConn, Creighton, Arizona, Texas Tech. So I have UConn beating Arizona. I have Texas Tech beating Creighton. I have Texas Tech winning it all.
The way this backfires.
If that doesn't happen, it's UConn. UConn will repeat. UConn's a wagon. But of
You don't-
course,
Can I
the
ask
Red
you
Raiders
guys
will take care
something?
of it.
What conference does Creighton play in?
He knows.
So the Big East is rhetorical.
It's just so weird that we almost kind of think that like two of the best teams in the nation are from the Big East.
Well, they're going to lose in the Sweet 16 to Tennessee. So
All right. Yeah. Hey, everyone has their opinions. Funny thing is, they'll play these games and we'll find out who's right.
guy, Nick.
What's that?
I said I didn't know you were such a big East guy.
He was born in Connecticut.
I'm a
Yeah,
massive
but-
Big East guy. I used to be
If
the
you're tech,
old Big East. You want to talk about great basketball? The old Big East.
Well,
I
we
do
got a
love the
couple
Big
of
East. The
those.
Big East is my second. The Big East is my second favorite conference.
Okay.
Well, what about on March 17th, 1996, Darvin Ham breaking a backboard? So
What about?
That was the
Yeah.
day you
Well,
were
what else?
born.
What else happened that day?
Darvin Ham broke a backboard.
Happy birthday to Dylan.
Thank you. Thank you.
There you go. You did it. Another year.
Yeah.
Yeah, another year. And of course, they had to make the brackets come out on my birthday just so I could have that hope for the next 4 days until I automatically lose my champion on day one. We'll see.
Tech
But
ain't
guys,
going nowhere.
any parting thoughts, Dallas? Anything else you want to share about the tournament, your excitement, just anything
Tennessee.
that you want to talk about?
I feel like that's leading to something. Or is this a trap?
It's not leading.
All right. No, I mean Texas Tech's gonna win it. Nobody clip this and send it to me when I'm depressed after we drop the game later in the week. But no, I'll be there when we get past NC State and Kentucky. I'll be at those games in Dallas. It's gonna be a good time. Tech fans, make sure you show out. I'm sure we will. So yeah, those are my last thoughts.
There you go. Nick, any parting thoughts?
Dallas, what was the Tennessee guy? Last name start with a V last year.
Fuck, hang on.
Oh, that's great.
I'm horrible if you
This was
ask
a
me
kid's show.
this guy's name.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
This was a
It's like
kid's show.
It's like he's Italian.
This is
I
great
know.
radio. I know.
I know.
what you're talking
This show was brought to you by Paw Patrol until Dallas went ahead and
Drop
used
the
some
F-bomb.
colorful language. Paw Patrols, keep patrolling.
Vescovi.
Yeah, Vescovi ain't walking through those doors, Dallas.
There you
We'll
go.
see.
Yeah, can't wait. Should be a fun week. I look forward to Texas Tech making it to the Sweet 16 this year. It should be a good time. Other than that, let's see what happens. It's time. March is here. Oh, last thing. I cannot stand the SEC's little like slogan. It's just different. Or what is it? It's just like it just means more. It just means more. I was watching the.
Do you think Vescovi is not on this team?
Is he still there?
I just realized you said last year he's still on the team.
Turns out he is walking through those doors.
Yeah.
That's why you guys are gonna lose, dude. That guy never shows up in time.
Okay, yeah.
Jeez, man. Yeah, you guys are in trouble if he's still there. Yeah, it just means more. I was watching the basketball game today, the championship game, and just can't stand that slogan. So, but it's the SEC, so it makes sense.
Yeah, well, that is fair. All right, guys. Well, that was our special edition of Tortilla Talk, our March Madness edition. Thank you all for watching, and please follow us on all socials. It's at Tech Letter N Tortillas. Again, that is at Tech Letter N Tortillas. And like and subscribe as always. And guys, guns up.
Guns up, wreck 'em.